Knits, a creative podcast. My name is Devin, and this is my place to talk about my knitting, crocheting, crafting, and general making. Designing too, nothing on that really this week, but there'll be more on that next week once I get a couple projects off my needles. You can follow me on Ravelry and Instagram as bdevin. Feel free to follow or friend me as well on either of those. There's also a Ravelry group for the podcast, Francofille Knits on Ravelry. I'm actually going to be asking for a little bit of help with that at the end of the podcast. So nothing really off my needles this week, but I've been getting a lot of knitting done all the same. But before I start getting into all of that, I should talk about what I'm actually wearing. This is, I'm not going to actually take it off because the pin makes it a little fiddly, but this is the Hill and Dale cowl by Mary Richmond, different knitter, different designer. There we go. I knit this back in 2013. Again, needs to be reblocked. I'm noticing a theme here with my older knits. But yeah, just a simple, bulky lace weight cowl. It's really nice and warm. I knit this out of Knit Picks bulky wool of the Andes. I don't remember the name of the colorway. So it was a moment where I guess I was not updating my Ravelry projects notebook as religiously as I perhaps should. So I have no pictures of it on Ravelry. I have no details, just I cast it on. It also doesn't ever say if I finished it, so I need to be really good about that. Today I'm just drinking coffee, nothing crazy. And then this is one of the Polish pottery mugs we got as a wedding present. Love those. Yeah, so I've worked on a couple things this week, really devoted most of my time to one project, a little bit less time to the other two. I think I'm going to talk about them in the order sort of least worked on to most. So I'll start with my color affection shawl, color blocked color affection shawl I've talked about for the last couple weeks. This is again in one of the project bags I've made myself, modified version of Nicole from Hugh Loco's pattern. So just kind of a fun combination of colors. If you look inside, it's got this kind of cool metallic pineapple lining, which I really enjoy for some reason. Kind of modified it, gave it a little wrist strap. And then little owl zipper pull there. Little buddy. So, like I've said before, I'm knitting this out of 3 different yarns. The main color in the pattern, so top yarn here, is a Cascade Heritage Sock Solid in Wine. That's a merino nylon blend. I want to say it's, I've messed this up before, 75% superwash merino, that'd be 25% nylon. Ooh, math. Second color here, also Cascade Heritage, this time in the silk, and the colorway here is Snow, and that is a 85% superwash merino blend, 15% mulberry silk. Like, feeling it is going to tell me what that content is. I have no idea what that move was there. And then I'm on to the last section here, and this one, this fun sort of, I don't know, it's not really tonal or variegated, it's kind of just multicolored. Maybe variegated is a good word for it. This is Malabrigo Sock in the Mart colorway, M-A-R-T-E. I'm gonna just keep calling it Mart. I really don't know if that's how you're supposed to pronounce it. But yeah, I've gotten a couple more rows done on this short row section. So it's definitely way too long to actually show you spread out on the needles. The cable is just nowhere near big enough for that. But yeah, plugging away at it slowly but surely. Yeah, a little bit of work done, not a ton. And then I'm knitting these on Knit Picks interchangeables, fairly standard. These are US size 6, that's 4 millimeters. Knit Picks is nice enough, I don't know if you can actually see that, but the sizes are actually etched onto the needles. And then these are the nickel plated ones. I also have these in I think it's maybe the rainbow wood. I think it's what they called it. It was when they first came out with them. And I like them. They're beautiful, but I've had issues over the years with the wood part of the needle coming out of the metal part it attaches to. It's coming unglued, so I've switched over to the nickel. And just for the way I knit, it's nice. It's not too grabby. Because like I said, I tend to knit fairly tight. But yeah, so that one hasn't gotten too much love this week. Hopefully I'll get more in the next week when I get done with this other big project I've been working on. Let's see here. Next one, just a little Knit Picks project bag. The Eco Bags. All right, it's got a cute little crochet lace scheme on it. And these are those Patent Croy FX socks I've been working on. And you can see I've got my progress keeper there marking from when I last worked on them to now. So I've gotten actually a couple inches done, but not a ton. These are actually fairly slow knitting socks, and the fabric, I don't know if you can really tell, is fairly dense. Because I'm knitting these on some mystery needles, actually. I don't know if any of you can help me with this. That would be great, actually. They are DPNs. Wow, so not DPNs. They're fixed circular needles. I'm struggling today. Okay. My husband is actually home. I try and record normally on Thursdays when he's on campus all day, but I had meetings just all day solid yesterday from about noon till 10:30 at night, and so I didn't have a chance to record. So it's Friday. I'm gonna try and get this out on Friday. Post this tonight. So he's in the other room. He's got noise canceling headphones on, but I'm still feeling a little awkward knowing that he's in the house, and this is, I don't know, it's a silly thing to feel weird about, but I do. It's like, hon, can you go in the other room while I talk at my phone for a minute? It's a little weird. But anyway, fixed circular needles. I have no idea where I got these. I think these may be ones I got in Norway last year. I was there for a conference and loved Norway. Was absolutely amazed by how many people were knitting in public there. And didn't bring any knitting with me, stupidly. So I found my way into a yarn store and bought some stuff. And these may be the ones I bought, I don't know. I can't remember what they are, and of course I threw away the packaging. But they've got this gold cable on them. I think they're Addies. I feel like I tend to only buy Addie fixed circulars, but they are definitely a US size 0. All right, 100% there. So yeah, I'm knitting up the Patent Croy on size 0, so it's definitely very dense. They're going to be a really nice warm sock. And just in my normal vanilla sock sort of recipe here, got a very nice stretchy 1x1 ribbing. I don't like to have too much ribbing at the top of my sock, so it's only about maybe an inch and a half maybe. And then I've probably cast on, I'm not going to sit here and count them, I don't even remember, probably about 70 stitches. Because I knew it was a small needle, I tend to go a little bit higher in my stitch count. And again, I knit tight, so I need more stitches than perhaps most people when I'm making socks. And then using one of my own stitch markers here, this cute little, I don't know, purple flower thing. And then got another one of my little owl friends as a progress keeper there. But yeah, so a little bit of work done on that. You can kind of see now that I've taken the top layer off the ball, you can kind of get a better idea of what the different colors are too, which is fun. Again, this is in the Clover Colors colorway. I brought this with me to campus actually, so I had some knitting to do between all of my meetings. But if I feel uncomfortable podcasting when my husband's in the house, I definitely would feel uncomfortable podcasting from on campus in my office, where one wall is just all glass opened up to the hallway and everyone walks by. So nope, have to podcast from the privacy of my own home. The last project I've been working on this week, I haven't even closed up or put it back in the bag, like that's how much I've been working on it, is my Atwood shawl by Nicole of Hugh Loco. It's part of her knit along. And the knit along ends January 31st, and today is the 29th maybe? I'm coming up to the last days real quick here. I was talking with some people on Instagram today about how we are all just sprinting for the finish line. We are all in about the same place now and just knitting full out, trying to get this thing done in time. Because we're silly and waited until the knit along was about 2 weeks in already before we cast on. So in the meanwhile, this is theoretically living in a bag that I made, one of my own project bags. Again, a play on Nicole of Hugh Loco's pattern. The cats got cuddly with it, so it kind of needs lint rolling pretty bad. But again, it's that same pineapple metallic lining, which I really love. Some cool mint and navy fabric. It's got a slightly different zipper pull on it. Kind of a cool green glass bead with flowers. But yeah. And then I am knitting this out of Nicole from Hugh Loco's own yarn. This is her Glitz base. So it's got some stellina in it, you can see there. Oh, if it wants to focus. Here we go. 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 5% stellina. The colorway there is Peapod. And like I was saying last week, it is just the right amount of stellina for me. Just the right amount of glitter where it's real subtle. Really, really subtle. And it's silver stellina instead of gold. I know some dyers use gold, which could be cool too. I feel like that might be a little bit more aggressively sparkly, maybe? I don't know. Be cool to knit with that too, though. So I have been knitting on this basically full time since we last talked. Like obsessively. I'm usually not this monogamous in my knitting. I like to have a bunch of other things going, as you can tell, right? I've already, even as much as I've knit on this, I've had to work on other things too. So that is how much I had last time I talked to you, right? I put a progress keeper in. I've gotten that much more done since. And I mean, knitting real talk, I stopped in the middle of a row, right, to put this down. In part because Jordan is sequestering himself in the other room, and as much as I wanted to finish the row before I started podcasting, I didn't want him to have to stay in that room any longer than he absolutely has to. Neither of us teach on Fridays. It's one of our days off, and we tend to like to both hang out in our living room on our days off, so yeah, the sooner I can wrap up and let him have his own home back, that would probably be good. But yeah, it's gotten really big. I'm making the large sized shawl here, and I'm actually knitting these on, what are these? Addy Turbo Lace, right? Nice and pointy needles there. Really love. Like I said, if I'm gonna use a fixed circular needle, I'm gonna use Addies. I really like them. I do a lot of adjusting with the tips of my fingers, so they're sharp, which is nice for picking up stitches, especially on a fine yarn like fingering weight or lace weight. I like knitting with lace weight. I know a lot of people have been commenting recently on how much they don't, but I don't have a problem with it. I like it. But again, since I'm doing a lot of adjusting with the tips of my fingers, it's not so sharp that it hurts, like I know is a problem sometimes with like the Haya sharps. I'd still like to try those though. Just don't have any. Again, using my own stitch markers, 2 little purple ones there for the center. Matching progress keeper there. Bill ever slow down. And then a couple more. Whoop. Glass beads for the ends. finally finished the Miles of Stockinette, and have gotten to the eyelet border. And I'm actually really enjoying knitting the eyelets. It's when I got there yesterday, I think it was, it's like the heavens parted and like a chorus of angels started singing. Like, ah, no more stockinette. It was pretty exciting. And I'm definitely, I know I said a couple weeks ago that I really think this would be an excellent like first shawl pattern for somebody, or any beginner who definitely doesn't feel comfortable with lace yet. I think this really would be a good first project, because the pattern is so clear. Most of it is very straightforward stockinette with a garter ridge. The lace here is really simple. That eyelet is really simple, and the end product is just, it's gorgeous. It's perfect. A really nice wearable shawl, right? As much as I love lace shawls, I feel like most of the time they're overkill. Like, I have a hard time wearing them with any real consistency. So I think the large size of this and the simpleness of it is going to make it really wearable and really nice. I'm excited to have this finished and blocked, which I promise I will have for next week. I know I said I'd have it done this week, but I had a lot more to do than I thought I did. Oh, right, the other point I wanted to make about the needles. The pattern calls for a US size 2, and I don't know how, but I just apparently have a gap there in my needle selection. I have them in DPNs, but obviously that's not going to work for this. So I had to go down to a US 1.5, and I think these are only 1/4 millimeter smaller than a US 2, which, yeah. Sorry, I'm checking my little gauge thing here. I love this little tool. It looks like a US 2 is a 2.75 millimeter needle, and I think these are a 2.5 millimeter needle. So it's knitting up maybe a little bit denser, a little bit tighter than is expected, and it's definitely knitting up faster. I'm using less yarn than I expected, which I didn't think, you know, that little of a change in the needle would really make a big difference, but I'm almost done with the first ball here. I'll probably be able to get through with this eyelet repeat. I'm gonna have to dip into the second ball, but I'm gonna have a ton of this left over, which is fun. I can't wait to figure out what else I'm gonna do with this. I'm gonna come up with something good, I promise. But yeah, definitely love this yarn too. It's really soft, and sturdy, which is a great combination. But yeah, so that is what's going on with this. Yeah, nothing more really to say about it other than, I'm gonna keep knitting as soon as I turn off the recorder here, the video here, so that I can at least finish up this row. This is making me nervous. I'm gonna pull those out even a little bit further, protect my knitting. Sorry, the bag fell, otherwise I would not be getting this close. But yeah, using the bag like a little yarn bowl. I don't know where I got this idea. Somebody mentioned it somewhere that you could do that with their bags. It's like, oh, I should give it a try. Cool. So that's what I've been working on this week. Sorry, I've got my notes here off to the side. Let's talk about some acquisitions. Let's start with not a ton of yarn acquisitions, but a couple little things. Sorry for the crinkling of the package. I haven't actually opened this one up yet. But remember how I talked about last week how I think this is just going to be like the Hue Loco fan podcast? It's continuing. Sorry for all those crinkles. So when I got the project kit for the Atwood shawl, Nicole included a little like 10% off coupon with it, and don't know, I was just really thinking about how much I enjoyed the glitz base, that little bit of stellina, really liking, just in a fingering weight mood. So I went online and got myself another another skein of her yarn. This one is in the Stardust colorway. You can see it's just this really pretty, yeah, multicolor yarn. I don't think it's like self-striping or anything like that, but it's kind of got these dark blues and purples in it. There's a little bit of gold, and then you can definitely see the stellina in this one. This one may be a little bit glittier. More glittery. Jeez, I'm struggling today. Yeah, I'm really excited to knit something with this. I'm not quite sure what it's going to be yet, but keep a watch. I'll let you know. And then along with that, a couple fun little additions. She also threw in some Smarties. I love that. I don't think I've had Smarties since I was a little kid. And then little mini skein. And this I think is my first mini skein from anyone that's not me, I guess. Got some mini skeins basically just in leftovers, but yeah, she threw this in. I was not expecting that. I'm gonna have to come up with one of those mini skein projects so I can start using these. I think it's just so cool. Right. Maybe do a Cozy Memories blanket like everybody else. Though, I don't know, I'll figure something out. So yeah, so that was one acquisition that showed up, I think right after I recorded last week. I also got more sock yarn because who doesn't need more sock yarn? This is something German. I don't even remember where I found this. Oh, that's awful. That's not helpful at all, is it? It looks like it's Hot Socks Paris. And the color, it has a number for a colorway, so not very helpful, but you can kind of see how it's gonna knit up. Definitely self-striping, interesting yarn. These will be fun. Not sure when I'll cast this on, but I got this week. I like my multicolored ugly socks. And then the last one, got this awesome project bag, really excited about it. This was some Tiny Paper Foxes enabling. I was watching Tiny Paper Foxes last week, I think the night they put the video out, and Jenny and Devin were talking about how, I guess Jenny got included in some giveaway by the bag maker, and ended up winning one of his bags, and he included one of these bags for Devin. And the maker, this is Bags by Terry. You can find him on Etsy. He doesn't currently have anything in his store, but I think he's doing an update on the 30th. And I definitely recommend you check it out because this bag is phenomenal. Right, there's this cool little pull here, another wrist strap. You open it up like this, I'm so excited about. Right, not only is there like nice coordinating inside fabric, but it's got these pockets. I don't know if you can see them because it's dark and the lighting isn't awesome, but it's got a big pocket here, and then it's got two smaller pockets like for a pen or DPNs or something like that. And then just like little touches I love from Etsy sellers. Included, you know, a nice little thank you card, which I thought was sweet. Skittles, I mean, I'm just getting candy. I just need to keep shopping on Etsy and people are gonna give me candy. It's gonna be great. And then, this is gonna fall. Some stitch markers, right? Really cool. I'm really excited about these. I don't have any stitch markers like these. So, yeah, very excited. Just really good construction. And, right, so Jenny and Devin were talking about how great these were and how we included one of, I think it was basically this exact bag for Devin. And he mentioned that he had one bag left. I don't know, I just felt inspired and checked, figured it must already be gone, but it was still there when I looked, so impulse buy, I definitely bought it. So yeah, apparently Devin and I now have matching bags. That's not weird at all, right? So gonna have to find a good project to go on this one. But yeah, so that is about it for now. In terms of what I've got on the needles. Like I said, this Atwood shawl is going to be done by next week. It will 100% has to be done. Yeah, it's like this personal challenge now. I will be done with it. Yeah, so kind of moving on to some other little things. Oh, I had 2 questions that I wanted to ask everybody. First of all, thank you so much everybody who's been watching. I really appreciate all the positive feedback. I probably should have started the episode with that, but better late than never. Yeah, it's really exciting, and thank you, Jenny from Tiny Paper Foxes, for mentioning the podcast last week. I really appreciate it. It was kind of a goosebumps sort of moment for me, kind of unexpected and surprising. So thank you. But yeah, I've got some questions for the hive mind. First of all, I've never tried moderating a Ravelry group, and I don't know if I'm doing it right. I can't seem to figure out how to pin topics or threads to the top of the forum. I don't even know if I'm using the right terminology. Anybody who has any advice on how, like, best practices for moderating one of these things, seriously, please send me a message on Ravelry. B Devin, just the letter B, DEVAN. Please help. I need help. Right, or email me, francofilleknits@gmail.com. Also totally appropriate. Yeah, because I want it to be a useful place for everyone. I just don't know if I'm doing it right. It's kind of weird. I didn't think it was something I could mess up, but apparently I can. I don't know. So there's that. The other one, I'm having some issues with my ball winder, where I'm getting these, like, it feels like it's skipping when I'm winding a ball. Gotta mime it for you so you know what I'm doing. And I will, I'm good about making sure there's a straight line from the yarn swift to the orifice of the ball winder, and guiding the yarn in and all that. Smooth, continuous motion. I'm not going, speeding up and slowing down, but I end up with yarn pooling around the spindle of the ball winder, and then actually, let's see if you can see this. Not on the one that's almost gone, but this one's actually not too terribly bad, but you can kind of see here where, like, things are getting loose. A little bit of that is just because it's the top rows. This one wasn't too bad, actually. You can kind of see it's a little bit loose. And then when I pull, I'll end up pulling out like clumps of yarn at once where it's gotten like wrapped together, not knotted, but a little bit. So I don't know if I'm like somehow in the last month I've somehow forgotten how to use a ball winder correctly, or if my ball winder is finally on its last legs. It's an older Knit Picks ball winder that I've had, again, for probably about 7 years. Did apparently all of my major purchases about 7 years ago. And yeah, I'm afraid it might be time for me to invest in a new one. So if you have either suggestions for how I can be more effectively using what I already have, would love to hear those. Or if you have suggestions for ball winders that you like. I'm not really looking to spend more than like over $100 or anything like that. I know there's some really nice ones you can get for like $125, things like that, but I don't know. I don't think I'm quite ready for that much of an investment piece, but if you have a reasonably priced one, I mean, I'd spend up to $50, I think, maybe on a ball winder. If you know one that you really like, especially if it's one that comes well recommended, I would definitely consider that. yeah. So yeah, any thoughts you have on those would really like. Also, I've never really thought about it until recently. I was, poking around the internet looking into ball winders and came across those wooden spindles you can wind balls on instead of using the crank turn things. If anyone's used one of those, I can't remember what they're called. I think it starts with an N. But I mean, it looks like a fancy wooden pole, and I guess you use to make a ball. If you have any experience with those or anything like that, I'd love to hear about that too. So again, Ravelry group, message me, bdevin, or email me at francofilleknits@gmail.com. Would really love to hear it. Cool. And for other sort of tangentially related things, like I mentioned in the first episode, I spent a lot of time a couple weeks ago over at the sorority house, helping out with recruitment and things like that. And I brought actually a little Patton's Croix sock with me to work on while I was there. And I was hanging out with a couple of the women. We were kind of doing behind the scenes work, and I was knitting, and they were just fascinated. Apparently, one of them was extremely fascinated by it because last Friday morning, I guess it was Saturday morning, I woke up to a message from one of my women, which is, something that terrifies me a little bit, especially a Saturday morning. If I'm waking up at 8 a.m. to a message that came in at 3 a.m., I get a little scared that something has gone wrong overnight. So after I opened it up and my heart sort of settled back down, I actually wrote down what she had to say because I thought I need to quote it. It was too good to miss. But yeah, so she messaged me on Facebook with this. I just wanted you to know that I just stayed up until 3 a.m. on a Friday night knitting because I taught myself how, and I am so excited. This is your fault. I love it. I love it, right? I've got a 22-year-old who on a Friday night is knitting instead of going out or doing anything crazy. So yeah, I may end up having created a little stitch and bitch in the sorority house, which would be fantastic. I've got one down, 236 to go. Oh yeah, so that was pretty much the rest of my knitting week. This is my knitting journal. This is what I've got my notes in. See all that there? I know some people use these, some people don't. I actually filled up my last one. I've got notes for like dyeing and stuff like that. Just something I definitely want to get into. Notes for project bags and things. Notes on my knitting. My awesome drawing skills you can see here. Clearly this is a color affection shawl, right? You can totally tell that there. But yeah, and this is a giant moleskine, right? You can see that embossed there. I don't know. I am a little bit of a paper goods snob when it comes to this. I've got my moleskine, and this is a little embarrassing. I also use a fountain pen. And then I've got other like sets of multicolored pens for like my planner and stuff like that. I like having things color coded. Slightly obsessive, not really a problem. But yeah. Oh, I also had somebody asking me last week what nail polish I was wearing this week. But you can see there. This is, I like Julep nail polish. They have a monthly subscription thing where I think it's like maybe like $20, $25, and they send you 2 bottles of nail polish and then some other kind of makeup or lotion or something. And you can pick out your colors. They've got like 6 new colors every month. And then this is the Mona. Ooh, is it gonna want to focus? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe not. Mona colorway. And then, like, I'm a little bit, again, obsessive about my nails. I do them all the time. This is the base coat. I cannot recommend highly enough. This is Orly Bonder, and it's like a rubberized base coat. And it works so well. My nails don't chip. So, if you do your nails, highly recommend this. Or anything. Any nail polish becomes a no-chip nail polish with that base coat. So, definitely recommend that. Cool. So, yeah, asked for help. my needles, acquisitions. I think I've gotten everything there. Yeah. So thank you again for hanging out with me while I blather on and on about what I've been knitting. Again, I'll have some finished objects for next week, talk a little bit more about this design I'm working on, and I've got another cool project that I've hopefully will have started for you to talk about next week as well. Yeah, lots to come up. But thank you for joining me, and I will see you again next week.